This is Sheriff Ozzie Knezovich with the Spokane County Sheriff's Office. Folks, there's been a lot of talk about violence in our community lately. And if you think there's a lot of violence in our community, you're right. There is a lot of violence in our community. You know, the problem is, last March when Chief Meidel and I stood in this conference room and reached out to the community to warn you about the violence we saw growing, what we got back within a week from progressive socialists was the sheriff and the chief are white supremacist and racist. Now, at that time, we had 4 dead kids in this community. All 4 of them were African American. So if me stepping up and talking about this issue that nobody wants to seem to talk about makes me a white supremacist and a racist because I'm concerned about black kids dying, I'll be a white supremacist and a racist for you all day long. But what we have going on in Spokane County right now is unacceptable. I have served this community for over 26 years, approaching 16 of that as your sheriff. For years we drove crime down in this community, and now I'm watching it explode. And I'm watching it explode because of very bad policy decisions made by elected officials in this area and in this state. What I'm about ready to show you folks is not a video of the streets of Baghdad, the streets of Mogadishu, the streets of some cities on our southern border in Mexico controlled by the cartels. I'm not going to show you a video that's in New York, Chicago, or LA. I'm going to show you 2 videos that happened in Spokane County. The first video happened just recently at Sprague and Crestline at about 5:40 in the evening. That's rush hour traffic, folks. I want you to pay attention. I want you to take a harsh look at what is going on in our streets, and then you tell me that this is acceptable. Because as far as I'm concerned, it isn't. It puts every one of us at risk. I want you to remind you, this could have been you, this could have been your family, it could have been one of us, it could have been one of our deputies that got caught up in this crossfire. Thank God nobody got hurt. But at the end of this video, you'll see another clip that was taken from a dash cam of a citizen that ended up getting caught up into that. What you're not going to see is the emotional response of that citizen when she heard the rounds going off and when she heard the rounds striking objects in her vicinity. Again, this isn't Baghdad, folks. This isn't Chicago. This is Spokane. And it's happening because your elected officials have made it almost impossible to protect you. Mark, roll the film. At the top of your screen, you'll see a red circle. That is a silver van. Out of the right of your screen, you will see a car approach that intersection to the right. There's the car. That car has a subject that is already firing at that van. There's a close-up of this event coming up. Watch the driver's side of that van. Watch the bullets striking that van, and watch the individuals in the van return fire. Here's the other car approaching the intersection. There's a subject hanging out of that car on the passenger side. You can see the muzzle blasts, and it is firing at that van as it's approaching the intersection. The next video you see is of the lady that got trapped in this. Listen to the gunfire. Did you catch that ping at the end? That was a bullet striking a pole next to her. As I stated, folks, that happened in our community. Did you hear the sound of that round pinging off of either a street light or a sign in the area of that poor lady that was driving down Sprague during that gunfight? The next one I'm going to show you happened in Spokane Valley on North Pines. I want you to pay attention to how many rounds went off. I want you to watch as citizens, just like you saw in this last video, as the citizens involved in that duck and run. And while you're watching this, again, contemplate, is this acceptable in our community? Mark, go ahead and roll the film. Remember, folks, this is North Pines in a business parking lot. The subject is firing at a vehicle that's going to come in from the right. He's firing, he goes around a vehicle. That circle will pop back up. There he is again. He's firing more rounds into that white van. Well, there you have it, folks. 2 videos of shootings that happen in our community. One at rush hour, Crestline and Sprague, multiple rounds fired, citizens trapped in the middle. Luckily, nobody got hurt. And then at North Pines, another shooting. And I'm always asked the question, Sheriff, who should we talk to? Because you're genuinely concerned about what's going on, and you should be. I talk to a lot of people all the time in our community, and this is the question I get asked repeatedly. Who should we talk to help bring an end to this? Well, in part 2 of this, I'm going to introduce you to some people that you need to talk to. These people have prevented us from developing a cohesive, structured criminal justice system that holds people accountable while at the same time attempts to break the recidivism that we continually see in our community. So I will see you in part 2.